This is the Volkswagen Golf R. It's the product of when you take away the GTI badge and then instead of having 220 brake horsepower, you pump it with an 80 additional brake horsepower, stick on four-wheel drive. And yes, it is very, very fast. The price for all of this power and loveliness, well, it's 42,500 euros. That's a full 6,000 euros dearer than a GTI. But if you think that sounds expensive, it's nothing compared to what it used to cost. Last year, this was 52 grand. I wanted to show you the interior, but listen to how it sounds when it starts up. Wait for this. Oh yes, indeed. Interior is pretty much similar to a regular Golf, actually. Lots of piano black, a lovely touchscreen display. I have 4Motion written here because I do have four-wheel drive. Lovely Dsg Gearbox with a kind of a carbon effect on the side of it, and very supportive bucket seats. And I do like the two-tone, a bit of kind of a grey and black, and everything in here looks very familiar to a regular Golf, but there's blue dials and just a smattering of changes just to differentiate it from a regular GTI. Right, well, I didn't do much talking to the camera while I was up the mountains because, to be perfectly honest, I was having too much fun and I was concentrating fully on what I was doing. But now that I've gotten it back into a town, I can tell you about the other side to the Golf R that it has to live up to, that it is expected to be. This is still a 5-door functional family hatchback. And just because you plonk 300 brake horsepower under the bonnet, give it four-wheel drive, doesn't mean that it's just a track day weapon. So this is still, aimed at the person who wants a slightly saucier GTI but doesn't want to give up any of the practicality. And the steering is the same variable ratio steering that you get in a regular Golf, so that means that you don't have to turn the wheel as much to go from fully locked on one side to the other. That feels a little disconcerting when you first do it. You lock it all the way and you find, oh, you've gotten all the way to the end of the lock very quickly, but actually the wheels are turned quite a lot. And it changes depending on the speed you're going, so when you're going very quickly, even though you give it a small bit of steering input, it doesn't kind of fire you off into a ditch. That is a very important feature indeed. I'm accelerating progressively up through the revs here, and I'm doing, 30 kilometers an hour, 40 kilometers an hour, now doing 45 kilometers an hour, and it doesn't feel like I'm driving a fire breather. It feels like a regular 1.2 or 1.4 TSI Golf. The thing is, though, that I think that's something to be, commended. I don't think it's a criticism of the Golf. Yeah, you're spending 40-odd thousand euros and you're getting something that looks like a regular 25,000 euro Golf. Well, yeah, there's nothing wrong with it, a 25,000 euro Golf and how it looks. I think it looks familiar and I like that about it. The other thing I like about the Golf R is that I do appear to be driving a very fancy Golf, but a Golf nonetheless. It's a very nice colour. I have silver wing mirrors and I have a quad exhaust out the back. So anybody who knows what they're talking about and they see it, kind of tends to admire it. Everybody else just thinks I'm a bloke in a Golf, and that's fine by me. I don't really like attracting attention in cars that I drive. I like just kind of wafting through the cities and towns and really not drawing any eyes or any concern. Interesting point. Every time we drive a car on GasBag, we talk about its fuel efficiency, and that's generally because most people would like to know how fuel efficient the car is. Now, if you're the kind of person who's buying a Golf R and you ask the question either to the salesperson or to yourself or anybody who has one, what's it like on fuel? Don't buy the car. Just go buy a diesel GTD and be happy that you have a fast car that's frugal. If you want to have a Golf R, just forget about being fuel efficient. I'm returning, having been up the mountains, thrashing this thing around the place, 15.8 litres per 100 kilometers. I don't think that is a criticism. I think that is a badge of honor. 15.8 litres per 100 kilometers, good. There's too much eco-friendliness going on in the world. That is my redemption. But it's a small price to pay for a grin like this.